How to read a contract like a lawyer. When you're handed a contract, whether it's for a job, a business deal, a lease, or a service, you might feel the urge to skim it and just sign. But here's the truth. That single signature can bind you to obligations, risks, and financial consequences that could last months, years, or even longer. That's why understanding how to read a contract like a lawyer isn't just smart. It's essential. In this video, we're going to break down how you can read and analyze contracts just like a legal professional would. No law degree required. By the end, you'll be equipped to spot red flags, decode legal language, and know exactly what you're signing. Let's begin with the first and most important rule. Read the entire document. Don't skim. Don't skip ahead. Don't assume it's standard. A lawyer reads the full contract from start to finish before analyzing anything in detail. This initial read-through gives you a general understanding of what the agreement is about, who's involved, and what the main obligations are. Think of it as getting the big picture before zooming in. Next, pay attention to the structure of the contract. Most contracts follow a similar format. You'll often see recitals at the beginning. These are the whereas statements that give context about why the contract exists. After that comes the definition section, followed by the terms and conditions, representations and warranties, covenants, termination clauses, remedies and liabilities, and finally, the boilerplate or miscellaneous section. Each of these sections serves a purpose. For example, the definition section might seem boring, but it's critical. Lawyers know that the way a word is defined can completely change the meaning of a contract. If a contract defines confidential information in a very broad way, even a casual conversation could be considered a breach. So when you read a contract, take time to understand every defined term. These are usually capitalized and used throughout the document. Then comes the heart of the contract. Who does what, when, and how? For each obligation listed in the contract, ask yourself 3 questions. 1. Who is responsible? 2. What exactly needs to be done? And 3. When and how should it be completed? This method helps you clarify the responsibilities of each party and understand your own commitments. Now let's talk about trigger clauses and penalties. Contracts often contain conditions that, when met, activate another part of the agreement. For example, if Party A fails to deliver on time, Party B may be entitled to a discount. Lawyers watch for these triggers, especially those related to penalties, automatic renewals, or changes in payment terms. These hidden clauses can be costly if you overlook them. Ambiguities are another major area of concern. Lawyers are trained to identify vague language, and so should you. Look out for words like reasonable, best efforts, or promptly. These terms may sound harmless, but they're highly subjective. What's reasonable to you might not be reasonable to a court. Similarly, long and complicated sentences can be used to bury obligations. If a sentence is confusing, break it down, read it aloud, or ask for clarification. Another key part of reading like a lawyer is spotting hidden risks. Some contracts contain indemnity clauses, where one party agrees to compensate the other for certain losses. Others might include non-compete clauses, exclusivity agreements, or automatic renewals that lock you in for a long period. Don't just look for what's included. Also look for what's missing. Are there limits on liability? Are you allowed to terminate the contract early? If not, you could be exposing yourself to unnecessary risk. Speaking of termination, always review the termination and dispute resolution clauses carefully. You need to know how to exit the agreement if things go wrong. What events allow for termination? Do you have to give written notice? Is there a penalty for terminating early? And if a dispute arises, will it be settled through mediation, arbitration, or court? Where will that happen? And under which law? This brings us to the boilerplate section, the part everyone skips. Don't Boilerplate clauses may seem standard, but they can have serious implications. For example, the governing law clause determines which state or country's laws apply to the contract. The venue clause decides where legal disputes will be resolved. The amendment clause tells you how changes to the contract can be made. Can they be verbal, or do they require written agreement? There's also the force majeure clause, which covers what happens if events outside your control, like natural disasters or pandemics, prevent either party from fulfilling the contract. After you've reviewed everything, it helps to summarize the contract in a checklist or a few short bullet points. List the key dates, responsibilities, payment terms, termination rights, and any clauses that concern you. This summary can be a lifesaver later on if issues arise. Let's run through a few bonus tips to wrap up. Use a highlighter or notes app to mark important sections and red flags. If you see a defined term, highlight it. If you come across unclear language, note it down. Second, look up unfamiliar terms. Legal dictionaries, or even a quick online search, can clarify things that sound complicated. Third, compare the contract to others. If you're in a specific industry, look at sample agreements or templates. That way, you'll know what's standard and what's not. Finally, don't be afraid to consult a lawyer if the contract involves large sums of money, long-term commitments, or unfamiliar legal concepts. A short consultation can save you from major headaches later. To read a contract like a lawyer, you need to slow down, analyze the language, and think strategically. Contracts are not just paperwork. They are risk management tools. Understanding them is a critical skill in both business and everyday life. So the next time someone hands you a contract, don't just sign. Read it, understand it, question it, and if needed, negotiate it. That's how you protect your rights and make informed decisions, just like a lawyer would. Thanks for watching. If you found this guide helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more smart insights on contracts, business, and personal finance.